Look around you. Every powerful man you admire, every name that opens doors without knocking, every figure who walks into a room and bends the air around him, none of them got there by being liked. They got there by being understood in a way most men never grasp. You were sold a lie. You were told to network, to smile, to hand out business cards like a desperate salesman begging for scraps at a table you were never invited to sit at. That is not how the elite build connections. That is how the forgotten stay forgotten, and the weak stay weak. Powerful people do not respond to friendliness. They respond to weight, to presence, to a man who carries himself like he already belongs in the room. The truth is cold, and most men cannot stomach it. Connection at the top is not earned through kindness. It is engineered through strategy, silence, leverage, and controlled force. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago, and the elite still live by his laws today. They just never say it out loud. Tonight, I am going to hand you those 10 laws. 10 weapons sharpened by history, whispered in boardrooms, practiced by men whose names you will never know, but whose decisions shape your life every single day. By the end of this, you will never approach a powerful man the same way again. You will stop chasing. You will start attracting. You will stop begging for a seat at the table and start building your own. But understand this now, before we begin. What you are about to hear is not motivation. It is instruction, cold, deliberate, and permanent. If you are ready to stop being invisible to the powerful, do not move. Listen very carefully. The first law begins now. Law 1. The law of gravitational power. The first law is the one that destroys 90% of men before they ever begin. Never approach from weakness. Never. Powerful people have a sixth sense for desperation. They can smell it on you before you open your mouth. The tone of your voice, the angle of your shoulders, the hunger in your eyes when you say their name, they read all of it in half a second. And in that half second, they decide whether you are an asset or a parasite. Most men approach greatness the way a beggar approaches a king. Bowed, grateful, hoping to be noticed. And they wonder why they are waved away. Understand this cold truth. The powerful are not looking for fans. They are looking for force. They are looking for men who carry their own gravity. Men who do not need them, but could become useful to them. That distinction is everything. The moment you need a man, you lose him. The moment you can walk away from him, he leans in. This is not charm. This is physics. Weakness repels, strength attracts. So before you ever step into a powerful man's orbit, you must build your own wins, your own skills, your own quiet confidence that does not flinch when he tests you. And he will test you. He will throw silence at you to see if you fill it with nervous words. He will throw indifference to see if you beg for approval. Pass the test by not needing to pass it. Stand like a man who already eats. Speak like a man who already has options. Walk into the room as if you were invited by your own worth, not by his permission. This is the first law. Build gravity, then let them fall toward you. Law 2. The law of strategic mystery. The second law is older than every empire that ever rose and fell. Make them curious about you before you ever speak. Most men walk into a room and spill themselves onto the floor. Their job, their struggles, their opinions, their dreams, their whole life story poured out in the first 5 minutes, like a man emptying his pockets to prove he has nothing to hide. And that is exactly how they are judged, as men with nothing to hide, and therefore nothing worth guarding. An open book gets skimmed and set down. A locked door gets studied. Remember this. The powerful are surrounded every day by men who talk too much, reveal too much, explain too much. What they cannot resist is the man who does the opposite. The man who gives short answers that imply long stories. the man who smiles without explaining why, the man who mentions something in passing and does not elaborate, forcing the room to lean in and ask. Mystery is not deception. Mystery is restraint. It is the discipline of knowing that every detail you withhold becomes a magnet, and every detail you spill becomes cheap. When you meet someone with weight, do not perform for him. Do not recite your rusum. Do not list your achievements like a child showing report cards to a father. Let him wonder. Let him ask. Let the silences between your sentences do more work than the sentences themselves. Speak as if you have already been somewhere he has not, and you are deciding, moment by moment, whether he deserves to know where. This posture alone will separate you from every desperate man who ever tried to impress him. Be the question he cannot stop turning over in his mind after you leave. That is strategic mystery. That is gravity that lingers. Law 3, the law of selective silence. The third law is the one men fear most, because it demands a discipline almost no one possesses. The man who speaks less is assumed to know more. This is not a theory. This is a law of human perception, stamped into the oldest parts of the brain. When a man fills every silence with words, the room reads him as nervous, unsure, hungry for validation. When a man lets silence sit, undisturbed, unbothered, the room reads him as dangerous, composed, deep. The weak man fears silence, because silence feels like rejection to him. The powerful man uses silence, because he knows silence feels like authority to everyone else. Watch how the elite operate in conversation. They do not rush to answer. They pause. They let your question hang in the air long enough that you begin to doubt it yourself. They speak in short, deliberate sentences that land like stones dropped into still water. They never explain themselves twice. They never defend. They never argue for the sake of being understood, because they know understanding is not the same as respect. Train yourself to hold silence the way a soldier holds his breath before the shot. When someone challenges you, do not rush to defend. Pause. Look at them. Let the weight of your restraint settle the room. When someone asks you a question designed to trap you, do not answer the trap. Let the silence make the question feel reckless to the one who asked it. The loudest man in the room is almost never the most powerful. He is the one performing for the powerful. Be the one being performed for. Speak rarely. Speak precisely. And when you do speak, say less than they expect and mean more than they realize. Silence, used correctly, will intimidate men who have twice your risum. Law 4, the reciprocity trap. The fourth law is where the true operators separate themselves from the amateurs. Give value before you ever take. Plant debts they do not realize they are carrying until the day you call them in. The average man approaches powerful people with his hand already out. He wants introductions, favors, mentorship, access, opportunities. He arrives empty and expects to leave full. And he is discarded within seconds because powerful men are exhausted by takers. What they rarely meet and what they never forget is the man who arrives with something in his hands and asks for nothing in return. This is not kindness. This is strategy. The human mind is wired by a law older than civilization itself. When a man receives something of value, a quiet discomfort settles in until he repays it. This is the reciprocity instinct, and the elite have weaponized it for centuries. You send useful information no one asked for. You make a quiet introduction that costs you nothing but benefits him greatly. You solve a small problem in his world before he even notices you noticed it. You do it without announcement, without expectation, without the desperate little pause that waits for praise. And then you disappear. You let the debt sit. You let it grow in his subconscious. You let him wonder who you are and why you gave without asking. Do this 2 or 3 times, and something shifts. He begins to seek you out. He begins to offer, unprompted. He begins to treat you as an equal, because his mind cannot accept receiving from a man beneath him. This is the trap, and it is beautiful in its precision. Most men beg for access. The strategist creates obligation so quietly that access is handed to him willingly. Plant seeds. Walk away. Let time collect for you. Law 5. Mirror their world. Don't beg entry. The 5th law cuts straight through the delusion most men carry their entire lives. The elite do not let outsiders in. They never have. They never will. They recognize their own. They smell their own. They nod at their own across crowded rooms without a word exchanged. Because power recognizes power the way wolves recognize wolves. The man who stands at the edge of that world, hat in hand, waiting to be invited, will die at the edge. No amount of begging, emailing, pitching, or chasing will ever move him an inch closer. Because the door is not locked. The door simply does not exist for men who do not already look like they belong on the other side of it. So stop trying to enter. Start becoming the reflection. Study how they speak, how they dress, how they move, how they handle money, how they handle conflict, how they handle silence. Notice what they never do. They never complain in public, never explain themselves to strangers, never chase what is not already moving toward them. Absorb these patterns not as imitation, but as calibration. You are not pretending. You are tuning your frequency until it matches theirs. When you walk into their world carrying their posture, their pace, their restraint, something strange happens. They stop seeing you as a visitor. They start seeing you as one of them who simply has not been introduced yet. Doors open without you touching them. Names are dropped in your direction. Invitations arrive that you never asked for. This is not luck. This is recognition. The elite are tribal, and the tribe only accepts its own reflection. So become the reflection. Build the standards, the silence, the standards of dress, the economy of words. Do not ask to be let in. Walk in already resembling the room. Law 6. Never reveal your full hand. The 6th law is the one that separates the protected from the exposed. Transparency is for children. Power is measured by what you withhold, not by what you display. The modern world has sold men a lie. That honesty means openness. That authenticity means telling everyone everything. That hiding anything is somehow a moral failure. This is a beautifully packaged trap. The men who wrote the rules of this lie never followed them themselves. Walk into any room where real decisions are made, and you will find men who speak carefully, smile without explaining, and keep 90% of what they know locked behind their teeth. They do not lie. They simply do not volunteer. There is a difference, and that difference is power. When you reveal your full plans, you hand others the map to sabotage you. When you reveal your full income, you invite envy, judgment, and quiet enemies. When you reveal your full ambitions, you give every insecure man in earshot a reason to slow you down before you rise past him. The strategist understands this instinctively. He shares fragments. He shows outcomes, never processes. He lets people assume. He lets them underestimate. He lets them fill in the blanks with their own imagination. Because a man's imagination will always build a larger legend than the truth ever could. Keep your next move private. Keep your wounds private. Keep your strategy private. Keep your timeline private. Let your results speak while you stay silent about how they were built. The world does not deserve the blueprint of your life simply because it is curious. Give people the headline, never the manuscript. A man who cannot be fully read cannot be fully attacked, and a man who cannot be fully attacked becomes, slowly and quietly, untouchable. Law 7. The law of status signaling. The 7th law operates in the space before a single word is ever spoken. Become the man they cannot ignore. Presence, posture, composure, these speak before your name does, and they decide how the next conversation will unfold before the conversation begins. The human brain makes its judgment in under 2 seconds. 2 seconds. In that window, a powerful man has already decided whether you are worth his attention or a waste of his air. You do not get to undo that verdict with clever words later. You only get to prevent it from ever forming against you. Walk slower than the room expects. Men who rush signal that their time is owned by others. Men who move deliberately signal that their time owns them. Stand straight, not stiff, the spine of a man who has nothing to apologize for. Keep your hands still. Fidgeting is a confession of nerves, and nerves are a confession of lower rank. Hold eye contact a half-second longer than feels comfortable. That half-second is where dominance is communicated without a single syllable. Dress one level above the room, never below. The elite notice fabric, fit, cleanliness, watches, shoes, not out of vanity, but as a shortcut to reading your discipline. A man who cannot manage his own appearance cannot be trusted to manage anything larger. Speak from your chest, not your throat. A low, steady voice lands in the body of the listener and registers as authority before the meaning of the words even arrives. None of this is performance. This is calibration. You are not pretending to be powerful. You are removing every signal that would cause the room to doubt it. Status is not announced. Status is detected. Engineer every signal you emit, and you will be read as an equal in rooms you never formally entered. Law 8. Control the frame. Control the relationship. The 8th law is the invisible hand behind every powerful relationship ever built. Whoever defines the meaning of the interaction owns the interaction. Never let them set the terms. Every conversation, every meeting, every negotiation has an invisible frame around it. An unspoken agreement about who is above, who is below, who is asking, who is granting, who needs the other more. Most men walk into rooms and accept whatever frame is handed to them. They let the powerful man set the tone, set the pace, set the subject, set the emotional temperature, and then they wonder why they always leave feeling smaller than when they arrived. The strategist does the opposite. He enters the room already carrying his own frame, and he refuses to surrender it. When a powerful man tests you with a dismissive question, do not answer inside his frame. Reframe it. When he rushes you, do not match his rhythm. Hold yours and watch him adjust to you. When he challenges your position, do not defend. Ask a sharper question back, and let him feel the ground shift beneath his feet. This is not aggression. This is architecture. You are quietly rebuilding the room so that you are standing at its center, not its edge. The powerful respect this because they recognize it. They have done it to 1,000 men who came before you. When a man refuses to be framed, when he calmly redirects every attempt to position him beneath the conversation, he is marked instantly as someone to be dealt with as an equal. Never apologize for your presence. Never shrink to match someone else's comfort. Never let the subject of the conversation be chosen without your consent. Walk in with the frame already built in your mind. Then make the room live inside it. Law 9. Loyalty is a currency. Spend it wisely. The 9th law is the one that will save you from more betrayals than you can count. The elite do not trade in friendship. They trade in alliances. Learn the difference, or be used by men who already have. Friendship is emotional. Alliance is strategic. Friendship assumes forever. Alliance assumes conditions. Friendship is given freely and therefore valued cheaply. Alliance is earned, measured, and renewed, and therefore respected. The average man confuses the two, and it costs him everything. He opens his life to a powerful man, expecting loyalty in return, and then he is crushed when that man discards him the moment usefulness expires. Do not be that man. Understand, from this moment on, that every connection you build at the top operates on a quiet ledger. What you give, what you receive, what you owe, what you are owed. This is not cynicism. This is clarity. The powerful are not cold because they were born that way. They are cold because they learned, through scars you cannot see, that unconditional loyalty given to the wrong person is the fastest way to lose everything. So spend your loyalty the way a rich man spends capital, deliberately, rarely, and only on proven ground. Watch how a man behaves when you have nothing to offer him. Watch how he treats those beneath him, because that is how he will one day treat you when your usefulness fades. Watch whether he keeps his word in small matters, because small matters are the only honest test. Build alliances with men whose interests align with yours and whose character has been tested by time. Everyone else gets professionalism, courtesy, and distance, nothing more. Loyalty is a weapon. Hand it to the wrong man, and it will be turned against you. Hand it to the right one, and empires are built. Law 10, the law of controlled distance. The 10th and final law is the one that seals everything you have learned tonight. Leave before they want you to. Absence sharpens value. The man who is always available is always forgotten. The man who disappears at the right moment becomes unforgettable. Presence, used without restraint, becomes noise. Withdrawal, used with precision, becomes gravity. When a conversation is at its peak, end it. When a relationship is at its warmest, pull back a measured step. When the room is still leaning toward you, walk out. Let them feel the space you leave behind. Let them wonder what you are doing, where you went, why you did not stay. This quiet ache in their minds is worth more than 100 hours of your company. The elite understand this instinctively. They never overstay. They never overtext. They never explain their silences. They appear, they deliver weight, they vanish, and the legend grows in the gap. Now listen carefully, because this is where your transformation begins. Everything you heard tonight is useless if it stays in your ears. It must live in your posture, your silence, your choices, your distance, your frame. Walk into your next week as a different man. Colder, sharper, harder to read, impossible to rush. Now I want you to do one thing before you leave. In the comments below, drop a single unique empowering phrase, your own personal code, something that reminds you of the man you are becoming, not a quote you heard. Yours. Write it, own it, and let it mark this night as the line between who you were and who you are now. And before you go, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because the next lesson is already being prepared, and men like you cannot afford to miss it.